Hey guys, Veebat here with another V Plays, and welcome to episode 2 of Satisfactory. Again, this is atypical for my channel. Usually I am playing World of Warplanes, which is a wargaming product, but I wanted to try out Satisfactory since I am a gamer and I do play a multitude of different games. We're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off on last episode, working on Hub Upgrade 5. We do have some basic automation going on over here as we have the initial phases for a smeltery setup, and since we have the opportunity here, I'm going to go ahead and disassemble that component right there, and we're probably going to continue on with building out this area just a little bit more in some basic automation. So one of the things I think we're really going to need is going to be some limestone in order to get us started. There's still a big chunk of pure limestone here. We can go ahead and chip away at this for 6 limestone a hit. This should get us pretty close to 100, which will allow us to be able to get the required limestone for, or cement rather, for setting up a kind of a basic pad for doing some construction operations. There we go, 86. That's enough for what we're doing at this very second. So I'm going to head back to the hub because I'm going to need my crafting bench. You'll also note that I've been picking up a lot of these leaves as we go, and I mentioned in last episode that it's going to be important to grab these resources in order to keep this machine fueled up, because you can see here it's already used quite a bit, and we want to keep up with that to the best of our ability. And something I didn't note is you actually have this power gauge here that indicates how much power is being consumed. So right now it looks like we've probably filled up the furnace, so we should probably get moving on building the production area in order to keep this supply chain moving forward. Limestone on its own is completely useless. Converting it over to cement is going to be your best bet just to get things rolling. I am going to use all of the space we have available to us, and we're going to go ahead and lay some more foundations here, and it'll actually snap to the other sections that we built before. Since I know we're probably going to be building another furnace over here, I wanted to create a little bit more space. What are you, logistics? Okay. We need the constructor. And the constructor is a little bit bigger than the pad, but you can see here it sets a green line up saying, hey, you are in line with the structure before it, which is good because we want to make sure that we can get our conveyor belts to run between the two. Now that we have this set up, we can go ahead and establish we want this to make iron plates. And I am going to set a second power pole right in, well, let's do this. We'll set a power pole right here, and we'll set another one right here, because I want to make sure that we have enough connections available for the other miners we're going to be establishing over here, and that we can get the power flowing to this machine right here. I think what will make sense as well for power management is running power from here to here. There we go. We freed up a connection here to go to the other possible miner, and another connection to go to another miner over there. Good, good. And we're producing automatically. That's exactly what we were hoping for. Now I would love to create some more automatic mining. Yep, we actually, our last upgrade actually gave us a second generator, but we should be good for right now. And you can see we're well within our power requirements. This auto miner is going to require some cable. Our portable miner. Sweet. Now it's going to be very tempting in this game to go ahead and produce a bunch of those miners right off the bat, but I'm going to strongly advise that you allow yourself the luxury of getting these Mark 1 miners up and running as soon as possible, because they're going to be very valuable. We see this rocky formation right here. This is actually going to be not what we're looking for. What are you? Caterham. That's not what I was expecting to see here, actually. Alright, this is going to be inefficient, but we are so close on the limestone we need in order to produce the foundation. Let's go ahead and get a bit here. That's enough for 2 more, so that should be good for us to be able to build a miner on this. So speaking of inefficiencies, this is a little bit inefficient as well, because this isn't exactly the best way to go about doing this. I really thought that that was going to be more limestone. Unfortunate. Alright, you're going to be a very valuable spot right here. Oh, again, without concrete, there's not much we can do. We even need concrete in order for us to lay down a power pole, so that's short sight on my part. There we go. This might be demanding way too much from this system, but we'll see what happens. Alright, green is good. This is our kind of our power indicator, if you would, but now we've got an automated mining system going on here, so that should be able to get us a bit of limestone right off the bat. And if we were smart, we would be able to build a production system off of this, but as it stands right now, we just do not have the available resources needed for that. It seems like a silly thing to need a lot of, but you really do need quite a bit of this cement in order to really get your facilities up and running, because it's going to be really good for those of us who are a little bit OCD when it comes to setting up your grid patterns for your factories, because you will actually get a snap function associated with the placing of these production facilities. A little bit of limestone, not a ton, but it should be enough for us to be able to lay down the initial stages of a foundation, hopefully. What we would like to build is going to be... Ooh, that's going to be fun. We're going to need another constructor. But reinforced plates. So we're kind of stealing from our own production line over here. But we really got to get this limestone production up and running as soon as possible. We need 2 of these if I'm not mistaken. 3 of them. Oof. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and put down another foundation. Clearing all those items out here. Okay, and we need you to make concrete. Not quite. And some iron rods in order for us to be able to build that storage container. Storage containers are going to be great, especially in the initial phases. It'll be able to get you some of the ability to go beyond the 100 item stack capacity that you see in a lot of the machines. Like I said, you're going to be using this crafting bench quite a bit, especially in the beginning stages, until you can start automating things. Oop. So something that's usually pretty good to do is to combine these power lines. By combining these power lines, you increase the overall capacity that you can possibly run. We do have the ability to make biomass from wood, and you can make quite a bit for a low amount of items. Should be plenty enough to be able to get this bad boy started and keep this one running. So now we've got a ton more power available to us, which is good because we're going to be making some serious demands over here of this system. This will be up and running momentarily. Perfect. And now we are getting bags of cement right from here, which is what we wanted for building another piece of foundation so we can put this storage unit on here. So storage container, there's the green line we like to see indicating that we are in line. And now this guy will start exporting these items straight into this container, so we don't need to worry about it, and the amount that this storage container can hold is going to be significant. There is a double stacked version of these storage containers, which is a great option as well, but now we have the ability to start laying foundations with a little bit more ease. But currently we're still lacking when it comes to being able to make these iron rods. So in order for us to get in a little bit better of a situation, let's see, do we have, I'm going to need reinforced plate again, which means I'm probably going to need to steal some more of this iron. Because we're going to need some rods again. We're also going to need the Mark 1 miner, which Mark 1 miner, we seem to have a few of the items, but not all of the items. We're going to need another miner, so it's good to keep these things going, but there's only in a single stack, so just bear that in mind as you continue to progress, not to get too overzealous. Build up a little bit of a stockpile there. Perfect. Now we know that we built up a little bit of a stockpile already. This thing's in a regular production setup. We've already up to 31, so we're in a much better state for when it comes to these materials. We're moving along pretty well. So it doesn't seem like it, but these are actually going to occupy a lot more space than you would initially guess. So we're going to have to do a little bit of reconfiguring here, but good news is we've got tons of material for laying foundation, and we wanted to kind of redo some of these power poles anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the middle. Again, trying to keep this spider web as organized as I can. There we go. This pole will power the smelters. Since the constructor is going to be the biggest limiting factor here, make sure that they're aligned right there and get them exactly spaced as far apart as they, or as close as I can get them to be. So they're right next to each other, shouldn't be interfering, although we may have some clipping issues, but that's a visual. We can get that aligned there, and this aligned with this structure. So now we're keeping a very consistent layout right now. Ooh, we're missing cable. Go figure. Do we still have enough left over for the miner? Yes, we do. Okay, so we need some cable in order to get our power up and running over here. Cable, you don't even realize you're missing it until you're missing it. I know, some real compelling thoughts from Veebat over here. So we've probably got enough cable to be able to get this production up and running, and we're going to have a double production line of iron and the ability to start stockpiling iron rods. This becomes very important when you start talking about the ability to, yeah, we'll max out that line. Kind of do like the lazy production method. So right now we've got these things ready, they're up and running. We're going to start producing ore from this very shortly. There goes the drill into the ground, and out comes the material. And these are indefinite. These will continue to produce forever and always. We don't need to worry about them ever running out. So that's a good spot to be in. For anybody who's played Factorio, that is not the case for Factorio. Can we throw... Yep, we can throw the iron in there. There we go. And now this thing is going to start producing rods for us. But again, we're still limited on 100 stacks. So unless I want to come over here pulling out 100 stacks all the time, the next best bet is going to be incorporating a storage method for these systems as well. So we're going to have to do something similar to what you see with the storage over here. However, you're limited now because you can only store in each container of only one particular item, because unless I want to hand move these over, the conveyor system, again, we're lacking the logistical components needed to get that nice diversified setup. We know we need 500 copper wire. All this stuff is running pretty strong right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and grab our copper deposit. Has been going pretty strong this whole time. And I want to make sure we're continuously grabbing fuel for our biomass generators. Now that we're running both of them, this becomes even more important. Hey, weird bird. Look like a flower. Alright. Doing great work up here, buddy. Later you do actually get a chainsaw and you have the ability to cut down these larger trees and get a lot more wood out of them. And there's also another biofuel source that's called biofuel, and that biofuel lasts it's like, I think it's 2 or 4 times longer. It's a significant increase in the amount of burn time. I think it ends up taking almost the same amount of plant matter to get to that point, but you can store more of it and you can put more of it into the generator at a given time. There's a lot of things to discover on these maps as we continue to progress. There's some material even I didn't know existed in the game. It's nice to have some foundation material. So just to give you an idea of where we're at for fuel and energy usage, we've already used approximately 50, and you can see that we're getting pretty high on our power consumption, so there's not much more we can do right now until we get the ability to be able to produce more generators, and eventually we're going to have to create essentially a power plant. Now the good news is I don't believe you lose any power over the transmission lines. You can essentially run those as far as you want with no real repercussions, so that's a good spot to be in. So I'm not too worried about that aspect in the game, but we are going to have to start getting up on production of power. So we've got quite a few deposits around us. We've got the 1 copper, we have 3 iron and 2 limestone, and I know of 2 other iron deposits and another limestone that would get us really motoring. But as of right now, we are probably gonna have to get this next upgrade, I believe, to get the next power system. So yep, there it is, biomass burner. So this is the exact same thing that's on the back of the hub, but we'll be able to build 2 more of these, so that's going to be an advantage. Once we build this, it really is a race for the space elevator, and the space elevator is going to take thousands of material, which is why it's so important to get this automation up and running, because while I could theoretically do exactly what we're doing right now, which is just holding down the left mouse button and letting this thing tick away, or rest my cell phone on the mouse button here, there, perfect, so I can talk to you without really thinking about it too much. Yeah, we get this automation up and running as soon as possible, start dumping all of those materials into crates, and as long as we keep those generators fueled up, we can start laying out some more infrastructure, and we can really focus on automation and maximizing the efficiency on our production line. Just checking on these every so often. I would love to throw these in storage containers now, but let's see what we have. It would be nice if these were actually a little bit closer to home, so let's throw a couple of different foundations here. Perfect. Perfect. There we go. Now these can run theoretically indefinitely, right? As long as we keep that thing fueled up, we can just sit here and let these things continuously flow into these 2 storage containers, and we're good to go. The only thing we have left to do is to automate copper, and we have all of the basic resources up and running, and it's really just going to be on a time basis now. And we do have quite a bit of plant matter for the time being, so that's a good spot to be in. but we're not quite there yet when it comes to the materials needed for satisfying these requirements right here. We've got the plates in place, we've got the copper for the most part. Do we have... Yep, we got plenty of the cement. You know what? We'll conclude the video in a second here. Let me go grab the copper and we'll come right back and we'll upgrade this thing up to Hub 5 and you guys will get to see something kind of neat. Hey Bert, no sense in killing him. He's not hurting anybody. He's completely passive. Whoop. Alright, here we go. Upgrade 5. And what you'll see here is we now have this weird little landing bay over here.
Congratulations.
And in comes a delivery truck right here, this kind of sky truck if you would. And this thing you actually load up with materials in order to send up to the orbital system that will then reward you with new upgrades for continued production. So you can see here we now have tier 1 and 2 things we can upgrade, and yeah, here this is what we wanted. The logistics is going to be very important because this allows us to be able to get a conveyor splitter and merger. So this conveyor splitter will have 1 entry and 3 exits, so you can kind of split things up if you want to send to multiple production lines, and then a conveyor merger will allow you to have all the materials converge into a single point, like if you want to put everything into a single storage unit. We also get some easier upgrades for upgrading your personal storage. This is the biofuel I referenced earlier. The conveyor walls, this is if you want to build like a no-kidding factory, but you can just have a widespread open kind of production pad if you so chose. And then there is a tier 2 set of upgrades as well, an assembler that allow you to put in 2 different kind of parts and produce 1 single item. Rotor here is an example of that. Or if we wanted to make those we wanted to automate reinforced plates, we would have the ability to combine the screws and the plates together in order to make reinforced plates off of that same assembler right there. There's also jump pads, which we'll probably mess with later on in order to help you with some movement, both vertical and horizontal, and then some walkways to allow you to kind of build your factory out a little bit better. The chainsaw is going to be valuable, so what we're going to actually prioritize is getting logistics unlocked. Then we're going to prioritize getting this biofuel unlocked in order to stabilize our power production a little bit more. And then we're going to go for obstacle clearing, because between those 3 upgrades, that'll put us in a really good spot to start working on the next major milestone, which is actually producing the space elevator. And you can see here you're going to need 1,500 copper, 500 spegs of cement, 250 plates, and 400 steel bars. Now theoretically, if we can get the copper up and running, all we'd have to do is wait. It'll just take time and continuing to fuel these generators, and we should be good to go. But if we want to do that effectively, being able to manage the direction of the resources to be able to get them to a singular point, that's going to be important, especially if we can just have them all delivered to a container right here. I can just pull what's needed for an upgrade. That makes life a lot easier, and then we can start working towards getting the resources necessary to get that sky, or is that the space elevator. This is also an interesting thing right here. We can go ahead and analyze the items that we found around the map, and it'll give us certain benefits. It's going to take 7.5 minutes to scan this alien carapace, and we'll go ahead and show you guys the result of that scan once we come back, because this is going to conclude today's recording for episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, I will catch you on the next one.